Welcome back, ATO family, and Merry Christmas, or Happy Holidays, or what suits you. This is Joe King. I'm with the great Kent Wolverton, and also we have two special guest co-hosts. Sergeant Omar Figueroa, you've heard from him. Sarge, say hello.
Hello.
And a voice you have not heard. I've tried to get her on some other episodes, and she keeps giving me, the Heisman and coming up with excuses. It's Senior Corporal Sasha Kim. She's our new peer support coordinator. Hi, Sasha.
Hello. I'll be bobbing and weeping.
Okay. Yep. That's probably all she'll say. But I just turned the mic off. No, I'm just kidding. I want you to jump in all you want. All right. This is our message from the host, number 14. We want to do a 2023 year-end review just like we did last year. We got some good feedback from it, so we didn't shit can it, and we thought we'd bring it back. We're going to take this opportunity to talk about reflect on some of our episodes and experiences throughout 2023, as well as what we're working on for 24. And I also want to give some mentions to some people that have reached out and shown support throughout the year and just throughout the whole journey of doing this show. Kent, you ready?
Yeah.
So we started out 2023 with the very sexy Clint McNear and Tony Godwin. I know he's going to hear this, and he always gives us a shout out on the Blue Grit podcast for the TMPA. So thank you, Clint. Clint actually is going to be one of the 2024 projects. Him and Tyler are going to come back on and do a show on the Blue Grit podcast and TMPA, just to highlight what those guys are doing. We did expose the ATL family to the Candelaria twins, and that was really fun, kicking Brian in the crotch the whole time, and Gabe cringing, because he does work for the chief, but it was fun. And it actually segued into having the daddy on, Omar, which he kicked their ass in downloads. I'm just kidding. Well, no, I'm not. Gretchen Rocha gave us a front row seat to July 7th as a rookie in the line of fire. We had Communications 101, came from Jillian Etheridge, who now happens to be my sister-in-law. We had two Badass SWAT episodes, and Matt Smith and the great Andre Taylor. Now that's Lieutenant Andre Taylor. We've had a documentarian photographer, incredible person in homicide, Sergeant Jessica Criddle. Got to hear about her dancing. We heard from one of the founding fathers of the ATO, and David Rodriguez. We had a 9/11 survivor, Chief Garcia, telling us how to act outside the box. We had the honor of sitting with Tim and Kathy Penton. Their episode stretched our limits of emotions on this podcast, but I have to say, with all the feedback that I received, it was well worth it.
It was really nice to get to meet them. I mean, the great people outside of the circumstances that we met on, but seeing them at every one of the events, they're always just a warm face sitting right there smiling at you, and I look forward to finding them every time we go somewhere.
Yeah, they have volunteered at just about every ATO event, and even the DPA functions. They're there. They want to help, and they're reaching out for ways they can help the wellness unit in our department, whether it's talking about grief, loss, and yeah, we're definitely going to work them in. If they're willing to help, we're really open to taking that, because we need it. They can talk on a subject that not many can, and I think we can learn from that and heal from it.
It's a great different perspective than what we're used to.
Oh yeah. So
we really appreciate them.
Oh, I love them. And they're big fans of the show. They Tim and Kathy reach out after every episode, which I love. Every time I see a text message come through, I'll release an episode, and probably less than 24 hours later, I'm getting a message from them, or I see their social media post about the episode. I can't thank you enough for that support. And it's kind of fuel to want to do more instead of in the show. Well, we also sat with a fella named Detective Steve Hodak. And that was probably one of the tensest rides because of his psych diagnosis, and I didn't want to piss him off. But an amazing dude, hard-ass worker, really accomplished. And now I have to say that, let's just say that some of the programs he talked about getting off the ground in his episode, they're in the works and they're rolling. And I'm glad that his talents and his dedication are going to get some exposure, because it's going to be for the benefit of the other officers and detectives and beyond. We've had Australian detectives on, DEA. We even had a T-Cole director and former Texas Ranger, and Gretchen and Aaron Grigsby. That was really fun.
You kind of just glossed right over a perfect opportunity for one of your good day mates.
I was waiting for Sasha. Sasha, give me your best good day mate.
You don't want that.
No, I think the listener really does. I think they do.
I suck. Good day, mate.
Right? That's perfect. That's
Killed
perfect.
it. I thought we were in Australia.
Nailed it. No,
Fooled everybody.
I thought Russ was back here with the Greyhound rescue folks.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
Yeah, let's throw a shrimp on the Barbie. We finished off December with the long-awaited story of the 2015 headquarters attack. That was a project that was a passion for mine since the hell I started this thing, and I think it was a story that needed to be told. I think we had the right people in place to tell it, and Danny worked his magic with the sound and the audio, and I'm very happy with how that turned out.
It was really good to see Jude again too, just to listen to him and get into the nuts and bolts of everything, all the way down to the measurements of glass. That Jude has a remarkable memory. I still am astounded by it.
Even if he was sitting there making that shit up, I wouldn't know. It sounded good. I know he wasn't. I know it was probably not, like you said, 99.9% accurate with his description, but it was it was amazing. That I want to say that for I love all the episodes that we've done. Every one of them have touched and inspired me and actually challenged me in different ways, especially like the Pentons, and then the people that I have on that I've never met before, like the Grigsbys. I mean, I met Gretchen down at the Capitol in Austin, and said she had an idea, and hell, I'm listening. Okay, she's one of the T-Cole directors down there, and she had a great idea, and we made it happen. And I got to meet her badass husband, Aaron, and then also Commander Grubbs of Round Rock PD. It was just amazing people, and there's stories out there like that nobody knows about. They're kind of just hidden, never get told. And we are lucky to have a platform that we can just get people's amazing stories and their struggles out there, and it could inspire and motivate folks. I'm just happy. I've loved all the episodes. The project I'm probably most proud of, just from the year, and it's because it was a long project and didn't know if it was ever going to actually get done, was the headquarters attack. It was a fun one, and it was we wanted to get the story right. I wanted to get the story right, and I know that there were some parts of it that we just couldn't include, just for logistics purposes and time, and but we did our best and to get the entire story out there of what the incident that happened that led to that 2015 incident at the headquarters.
I think we've also discussed maybe bringing on some of those detectives and getting that side of the story out also, because that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And I think we did a pretty good job. I know as SWAT guys, we get a lot of we get told that we thump our chests a lot, and I want to point out that everybody did a great job on that deal. It was not a SWAT operation; that was a total department deal, and I think everybody deserves the credit that they got on that one.
Yeah, that contributes to a lot when nobody else was injured or killed by that guy's plan. The guy had a hell of a plan. He did, but and like Jude Braun said, that he planned for everything, but he didn't plan for 5-0.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Kent, what is your I'm gonna put you on the spot. What was your, I'm gonna say favorite? It's hard to say a favorite, but what was your most enjoyable episode, or what was your biggest surprise episode that you? I know there was some that you were like, yeah, I don't know if how this is gonna turn out.
I'm always a little apprehensive to sit down with anybody that I don't know. So we'll start with the ones that I really enjoyed. Chris Wood, great seeing you again, man. I really enjoyed sitting down with that guy and just reminiscing a little bit about some of the things we used to do. Lieutenant Taylor was an amazing one. I remember we kind of knew where we were going with it, but to hear it from someone of that stature, and I mean, I've worked with Lieutenant Taylor, right? He took my spot when I left SWAT, but it's difficult to explain to some people how you view them. Like he's a role model outside of everything that he's already been through before then. So all those guys that you grow up with, you know, maybe 5-10 years ahead of you, you look up to them and you kind of model yourself after people like that. So to sit down with him and for him to be as open as he was, because that was gut wrenching. You know, I mean, listening to him talk about why he went down the path he went and the way he was self-aware enough to correct it, you know, very inspiring. So I really enjoyed that one. Brandon Dye was this year also.
Yeah.
That was a guy that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And within the first 15 minutes of meeting him, I was blown away with how, number one, how mature he was, you know, for a young officer, and realizing that he was even younger than we thought he was. Very inspirational. And I feel like if that's the caliber of people that we have on the department at that tenure, then we're heading in the right direction.
Yes.
Tim and Kathy, I did not want to do that episode.
I know.
I like to hide from feelings, especially those tough ones. But I'm glad that we did it. It really, beyond the success of the episode in itself, just getting to know those people better. And I consider them friends at this point, you know. I mean, we talk every time we see each other, so I'm glad we did that one too. That was the most difficult as far as staying composed. And I do a pretty good job, I think, of hiding my emotions, especially the harder emotions. But that was a really tough one, man. It kind of a gut punch, but
Oh yeah. Well, you know what was really so behind the scenes on that, you know, Misty did one of the best openings I think we've ever had, you know, and but talking about Mitchell in the beginning and then getting to a point, we knew where we were going. We knew where it was headed. That was the most anxious I had been, because we have a flow here typed out, and I'm sitting there following the flow, and with each paragraph and each section was getting closer and closer. You know, we took like a break before just to kind of, just like, it was like a 15-minute break, just to kind of talk amongst yourself, mentally prep for what we're about to talk about. And damn, I think we needed that too. But that was the most anxious I had been in an episode, especially watching that when we first started, hearing Misty's intro and not trying to listen to the words of what she was saying and not process it so I wouldn't get emotional. Because it's hard for me to talk when I get emotional. So to hear that and then navigate through Mitchell's life and their life and in the parenthood, and then know we were going to that in February, that sucked.
It did, but again, it was beneficial. I think it set something out that we wanted to get out there. And I also want to say thank you to Misty for showing up again. Anytime you could make it, we'd love to have you, even if it's just to hang out at the office. And Chris Webb also. I miss that guy.
Oh, I love that guy. They're always, anytime Webb calls up or texts me with an idea for an episode, yep, you don't have to sell me. You just tell me. I'm in.
Good dude.
Oh, he's the best. And Misty with her. I mean, we're not talking about what she does now, but just know she's kicking ass at what she's doing. But whenever she's available to record, she's going to be back on the show as much as we can, squeeze out of her. Especially if nothing more, I may just have her write all the intros and email them to me. So we want to give a special mention to several throughout the year. We get people literally from all over. They reach out with ideas and say hello, or just show gratitude, or they tell us how we could do something better. or how a story may have helped them process life or help out a family member or another first responder. They sent it to somebody that was struggling, and that person went to counseling, or that person made a career change because of something somebody said, and that means a lot to get those. And I try to I publish a lot of these on the social medias of some of the messages, but there's probably 3 times more that I don't, that are more personal ones, and I keep to myself, or I just share within the core group, because there are some of them are very, people being very vulnerable, and and I don't want others to I just don't want to put that out there like that. That's for us. But I want to give a special mention to Anna Hale with the American Warriors Association. We met them here in the office and just had a good conversation with them just yesterday about how we can work together. And they got, after our meeting, their CEO that was sitting right there with Sergeant Fig sitting, he said he was so inspired. He gave them a mandate and also is going to fund something for them. So I didn't even know about this, but I just had to talk to Dottie Claggett about a part of that. So it's something big for them. I'm proud of them. It's American Warriors Association. They're based there in Fort Worth, and they're helping out Fort Worth PD. And I think that they're about to start up something big that's going to help a lot of police and fire over there.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. So Anna, she says she's hooked to the show, and hopefully she'll listen to this. And I just want to give them a special shout out. Will and Taylor Stoy from Stonegate, they've helped out our people immensely. Colin Gordon, young officer, we're going to be you're probably going to hear his story in 2024. A young officer here in Dallas, but a hell of a backstory and family story that's, I think it's going to surprise a lot of the listeners. Dallas officer AJ Jaramillo, he's a rookie officer, and he's reached out, and we continue conversation, and it is really, that's another message that I will not share, but it meant a lot to me, and I look forward to continuing that friendship. I had retired DFR David Pinellas. He reached out with a real sweet message. He doesn't live in the area anymore, but he listens to the show. So shout out David. Roy Marino and the Brotherhood, they have constant support. Greg Garcia is one of my oldest friends on an apartment. Love that guy. Pat Starr and I remember he's riding with Spencer Barons, and we got him in the dope chasing game, and he fell in love, and he's just a genuine and he's just an amazing guy. Grand Prairie Courtney Runnels, she is always giving motivating feedback on this show. She got hooked on it, and she reaches out all the time. She's kind of pissed at me that Northwich and Hills PD got to meet Aussie before she did. I'll rectify that as soon as I can. Rookie officer Sebastian Serrano Santiago, he's from Puerto Rico. He reached out to me over 10 months ago, and he said that he loves the show, and he was going to apply with Dallas PD because of what he heard from the show and the professionalism and what we have going here. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't hear back from him for a long time, until he was about to a couple of days before he was going to graduate, and he said, hey, you heard from me 9 months ago, and I just want you to know that I'm graduating the police academy in a couple of days, and he has thanked us, and it was really sweet. Actually, I just saw him in the hallway. He's running around with auto theft for his week up here with the detectives, but he's a good kid.
Yeah, he texted me this morning and said he's going to come visit the office here in a little bit.
Along those lines, congrats to Blake Harrison. He's in the academy right now. He actually put on his applicant interview board that he applied because of the show. It's kind of funny that that would inspire somebody to want a job.
On an unrelated note, are they still doing bonuses for referrals in the academy?
I'm looking into that.
Okay.
They can make a nice donation to the ATO.
To the ATO, there you go.
North Richland Hills captain, Melissa Andrews, she reached out after seeing the article on Aussie the Greyhound and our new therapy dog. I haven't really talked about it. I eventually will do maybe another message from the host just about that. But long story short, we have the wellness unit now has a greyhound that's a retired racer. His name is Aussie, and he is in training to be a PTSD and therapy dog, and he's assigned to me, and he's brought a lot of joy to the department and to me personally. Actually, he's like a rock star around here. I walk him around headquarters and he gets mobbed. He's like the Beatles and walking on floors. Sarge, you want to say something?
Yeah, since we're on special mentions, I wanted to give a big shout out to Dr. T and the first team for everything they've done for our department, all of the psychological education pieces that they've done, coming out whenever we call, having them just the level of service and dedication that they have, and everything they put together for our department. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, this was a rough summer for us, and their response, really rallying around us and helping us out through that, is amazing.
Yeah, the night of one of our tragedies, it was after 9 p.m. at the scene. Literally, Chief Garcia mandated we make something happen for the next morning, which, usually counselors and doctors, they are booked up. And Dr. T is very busy, very booked up. Called her from the scene, and another long story short, she had her team here at 9 a.m. the next morning, and we, throughout the day, we ended like around almost 4 p.m. Throughout the day, we saw over 300 personnel with Dallas Police Department of the tactical side. That included all of SWAT, Vice, narcotics, fugitive. There was a lot of deployments, CRTs. There were some other people that were pulled in just because they were walking the halls. Hey, come on, and we made it happen. So it was over 300 officers that I counted that we saw, and then Dr. T dropped everything and come to make that difficult task happen, because we, to see that many people. Chief Garcia says he wants it done. We're going to get it done. Amanda Noyes in the Finding Freedom Therapy group. She's one of our new ATL counselors. I want to say I look forward to sending people your way and also working with you. And Tempa Cheryl, Sasha, you know her a little bit.
Yes, maybe just a little bit.
Just a little?
Yes,
Yep.
But her, the Brave Fight in Fort Worth, they're doing amazing things out there for the first responders in that community. So really big things happening there.
I ran into a few guys from the Boston area and Braintree, Billy Cushing and Freddie, and the entire training group over there with the K9 Foundation. You guys showed up big time, and it was great to meet you guys, and I appreciate what you did.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Maybe if they can get another stay here in Dallas, we can get them on here. I would love to. I'd like to get more of a stranglehold on that northeastern part of the country, and getting some other people from different. I like to have people on from all over. Going back to Matt Janishek in Iowa. I mean, shit, he was texting me this morning. He literally this morning he's doing his first presentation in front of a group of people about his incident. It's really not, and he was real nervous. I told him he'd do great. I'm sure he's doing it probably right now, and I'm sure he's doing great.
I'm sure he is, man. That guy was a rock star when he came in, and actually did a really good job of explaining what was going on, and gratitude to that guy.
Oh yeah, he just except fanboying over Claggett, which Steve walked out here. He couldn't get through the door. His head was bigger.
Well, I mean, we all kind of do that.
Yeah, we all. He is a hot man. So I talked about the Australian Greyhound that was a retired racer, and it's an organization that reached out to us and the DPA or FOP, and they have retired racers. They want to train to be PTSD, emotional support animals with therapy dogs. Russ Phelan is running it. It's Aussie mates in the state, and the liaison here, and also that takes the training portion, is John McQuaid and Galt, Greyhound Adoption League of Texas. I know them because I had a dog from there that I adopted from 04. They, you know, I love greyhounds. They're docile, gentle creatures. They're perfect for this role. I never considered them for be a support dog until I actually got them. I'm assigned Aussie. You know, and anybody that follows us on social media is probably tired of seeing Aussie, but you know, they get used to it. But
You'd be tired of seeing him. He's so cute.
He gets mobbed. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention the latest episode, 87, with Damon West and the coffee bean story. You know, there's some people that were like, what the hell are you having a guy on that was convicted felon and he did some bad shit. He does not back away from being a really bad guy and doing bad things. And I like the perspective that sometimes officers do an arrest and detectives do investigations, and we put people away and we see the recidivism Ferris wheel over and over, getting rearrested and out doing shit. And it's nice to hear that in true bridge and divide fashion that we have somebody on that, you know, he is doing something different than he was 15 years ago. He's going out spreading a message to groups that we can't get in. He said 95% of people get out of prison. He goes into prison and he gives his message. And even if a fraction of those people that are listening buy into it, that's better than 0%. So I really enjoyed that. I was reluctant to do it at first, but then some people kind of like said, you know what, it's a great message, and it is bridge and divides with us, the community, and law enforcement, and somebody that's seen the other side.
True to the title of this podcast. It's great.
We're going to have on other people too that I'm not having on a bunch of people that just agree with everything they say, or they agree with everything I say. I don't think that's not life.
And that's not how you learn. You learn by taking in different perspectives and agreeing to disagree and existing together. That's literally the world.
Well, of course, and then having it shows us that our hard work, detectives' hard work, and then, you know, it can matter. It can make a difference, as opposed to just the revolving door lead to that, because there's enough of that.
Yeah, and it doesn't just stop when they go behind bars.
No.
It continues on afterwards. What impact are we making?
Absolutely. I want to talk about some upcoming episodes that we have going on. Next is Terry Bentley Hill. She's a criminal defense attorney. And that is also another way of reaching across the aisle. People are like, well, why are you having a criminal defense attorney on? And, well, wait till you hear her episode. You wait till you hear the message. And it's a very powerful message. It's something that needs to be talked about and taken on head on, because there's nobody, no group, no culture that's immune to suicide, especially this profession. Death by suicide is, first responders take their life 3 times more than other citizens, and we take our life at a higher rate than a suspect takes their life across the country. And I think it's something that needs to be talked about. That episode is probably going to have a trigger warning, because it is very heavy. Then we have Dallas Police Association president on his way out the door, Sergeant Mike Mata. I think especially here in the Dallas area and even beyond. I mean, Mike's all over the place. He's been the Dallas Police Association president for over 6 years. He's retiring. He's moving on to bigger things and more challenges. But his story is there's a lot of levels to it, because there's a lot of levels to his career and path of where he started at Southeast chasing dope, and to now battling, activists, fighting for officers' rights. There was a lot to that story. Dallas Fire and Rescue, Casey Ellsworth. That is a really, really interesting story from a really good dude. But then there's a lot to that man in his life growing up that people are going to be really surprised about. And we're going to talk about that when he and Will On got ambushed over there in South Dallas. And it led to a lot of change and a lot of training, and just the way the way Dallas Fire and Rescue operates because of, it was a damn near really bad tragedy. I mean, Will got shot up pretty good, and that was Casey was his partner, and he walks us through that entire incident. It's pretty shocking that Will is still with us. We have Copline creator Stephanie Samuels. That is another good one. She started up a nationwide hotline for first responders, and she has a really unique take and new information that's come out on TBIs and PTSD, TBIs and suicide, and very interesting. And I think we're going to try to have on a doctor at a later episode to kind of follow that one up with more research on that, because just wait till you hear the episode. It's fascinating. We also have a child abuse detective that's been in Dallas child abuse almost 19 years, and Corey Foreman. We have not touched on that subject yet on this podcast. We've had ICAC on, but child abuse, it's probably going to be a really heavy episode. But anybody that's done anything for almost 20 years, and especially that type of crime, there might be some tears in that one. We're recording that in a few weeks, and I'm excited about it, but I'm also anxious, because that's another that I'm going to leave out of there probably feeling like shit. Young Officer Colin Gordon, his episode, Kent's gonna get that going. Todd and Kim Stratman, I talked to her just this morning. Retired DPS Deputy Director Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Williams. So this guy, he just retired DPS just a few months ago. When he left DPS, he was like number 2 in charge behind Director McCraw. I mean, he was assigned to, I think, Governor Abbott. I mean, he's been in like 7 shootings. He started DPS's human trafficking program. There's just so many directions we can go with him, and that's going to be upcoming. Major Mark Harris will be back on the mic with his son for a different type of episode, and since we've been in the wellness unit, we've got a lot of officers that have reached out with, and even going back to Damon West being an addict and doing what he did. We've got people on the department that struggle just like everybody else with their children, with their marriages, and Major Mark Harris and his son are going to come on and tell a story. I think that's it's going to touch a lot of folks.
Yeah, and I wanted to also touch on special mentions too that we just cannot forget about. Dak Prescott. That man is something else with his Faith Fight Finish Foundation, and everything he does. It's akin to the Bridging the Divide podcast, right? He literally wants to bring together community and law enforcement, and the mental health stigma. He wants to totally obliterate that and get people help when they need it. I'm very grateful for everything he's done to the ATO, donations, and for the OWL initiative, Officer Wellness and Longevity, helping us out here in the wellness unit. And I cannot go without mentioning Chief Garcia and Chief Ramirez for creating this unit and all the lives they've touched just by giving us the green light and to run with this. And it's just amazing. Leadership, it comes from top leadership. That's where it all begins.
Anything, Sasha?
Yeah, it has to come from the top. It doesn't work if it's just the troops doing it. You have to get the buy-in, and that's why we've been seeing the success in our department.
We've got, and that's with anything. We've all been around here long enough to see poor leadership in this department, and we see it in other agencies as well. So, guys out there, let's enjoy it while we have it, because I promise you, it could change on a dime, and it can go a different direction. But let's enjoy what we have and be positive and appreciate what we have. Kent, you good?
Yeah, I think I've said my piece today.
Okay. Well, that is a perfect way to wrap it up at our 2023 year-end review. We're looking forward to 2024 to all of our brothers and sisters that are struggling through life, through work. Work sucks. If you're short-handed, you're having problems at home, struggling with what you see out in the streets, know there's people out there that you just have to reach out and they'll be there for you. Every department has people that are there for you. Life is much more beautiful and interesting with you in it.